Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Tippy Turner. Tippy Breaks here. Got a new project coming out today. Really excited about this one. It's been in the works for a minute. I am making a stick poke tattoo machine out of a cannibalized pen kit and some 7 mil tubes I was able to acquire. Really excited about this one. Big thanks to my friend Genesis. This was her idea. She was looking for something to do her stick poke tattoos with that wouldn't tear up her fingers so much. Actually did a little bit of research to make sure it's safe. The glues, the resin, everything I'm using is safe to go into a steam autoclave so she can actually clean it, keep her clients safe, and yeah, super excited to finally get this done. Been theorizing on it and working on different mock-ups for a couple weeks, and I finally got the tubes in this week, and I think I'm gonna have enough time tonight to turn it out and possibly even assemble it. So yeah, really excited to share this one with you guys. Thanks again, Genesis, and here we go. Alright, so today we are working on the stick poke. If you saw the last video, this stuff was sitting here in my little pieces and parts holder. Get this thing out of the way, add that to our spare pile. So these are the tubes I got. So these are 7mm tubes. They come from PSI Woodworking. PSI Woodworking. Beautiful 7mm tubes. It's one of the only places I found that sells long lengths of 7mm. So we'll cut these down to the size we want to get them into this blank here. Truly a beauty. Very happy with this thing. You can see here, super graphic, super beautiful. Like I said, my friend Genesis is the inspiration for this, and she said she wanted orange, hot colors. I actually tend to work a lot in cool colors. I lean a lot towards blues and sometimes pink, a lot of black and white as well. So this was an exciting departure for me to get to make this blank. Here's some of the parts. This is a actual tattoo needle. Don't worry, we won't be sticking anyone with this dirty old one. I was using it just to kind of size everything up. We also have our standard pen tip. I'm going to be using that to actually hold the needle. Then to make sure everything's snug, we have these little guys here. So this is going to actually be mounted into the pen, threaded in. That's going to be permanently in there to make sure the needle stays centered. Then this one's going to go in to actually make sure that the needle is tight. So that way there won't be any lateral movement and there won't be any up and down movement. I have two different sizes in here as I was experimenting, just trying to figure out which one would fit better. I also have my bit and my tap. So that way we'll be able to actually tap this once we're done. Let's tap that. This is the twist mechanism from a standard 7mm slimline pen. I might end up using this because if you'll notice, it's quite thin. It's a bit thinner than the tubes. And so I think that might just help guide my needle in, keep it a little bit smoother once it's in there. But yeah, first things first, we're going to cut these down to size, measure it up here against the needle, and then we'll go ahead, drill out our blank, get that glued up. Going to do a better glue up than last time so it don't blow up on us, and we'll get to turning. All right, so here we go. Oh, well, you can see that, but the needle is actually inserted into the pen tip. Just want to get a general idea of what my height's going to be like. One thing I found is that you do want a little bit of this end of the needle exposed. So I'm going to measure it up to about here, somewhere around here. That way I have enough sticking out that you still have access to this. I don't really want the tip of the needle to be sitting flush against the body. I'm afraid that's going to just cause some issues. And that way, if she ever wants to adjust height or depth, gives her a little bit of play, and maybe, you know, certain needles are shorter than others. I'm not sure about the universality of this part. Just want to make sure she's got enough room. And, you know, down the road, these might end up being for sale, so we'll see. So I'm just going to go ahead here. I think that's pretty solid, a little finger's length, probably what, ½ an inch. And then here, so we'll go ahead and just draw our line here. and then we'll get this puppy onto the bandsaw, cut it down. On the bandsaw here. Now this saw is not specifically made for metal, but brass is pretty soft, so we'll just take our time, go real slow. Ooh, like butter. Alright, so we're back. Clean this up a little bit with some sandpaper. Brass is very forgiving medium, so pretty easy to sand up. Another thing I love about these PSI blanks, they do come pre-sanded. I might rough them up a little bit more, you know, hit them with a little sandpaper. You never know, there might be a little bit of factory finish left on them. Want to get that off. Sorry if y'all hear some noise. It is currently raining because I live in Florida. So, again, we have our needle threaded through our pen tip. Just line that back up, make sure. There we go. We got about a finger's width, which is all I wanted. So we'll go ahead and measure this up on our blank. So we need to figure out what side of our blank we think is the most beautiful. Personally, let's see. I think we have a lot going on in here. I like what's happening with this yellow right here, but I'm afraid with that little bit towards the edge, we might get some breakage. Don't want to do that. Also, I think there's some beautiful stuff hidden in here. So I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit off either end. I'll show you guys in a future video. I actually don't throw any of these ends away. Put them all back together and make what I call the Harlequin blanks. So I'll show you guys a Harlequin blank later. So all I'm going to do is just take it here. Draw a little line. Draw another little line. This does not have to be perfect. In fact, we're going to err on the side of over because we're going to put it on the drill press and we'll go ahead and clean it off with our barrel trimmer later. So let's get this back on the bandsaw. We're going to cut this puppy down. We'll drill her out and get her on the lathe. Put her around. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, let's get drilling. Going to try to drill through this. Obviously we're taking our time using a little 7mm bit. This is actually going to bottom out my drill press, but I'll go ahead and just scoot it on up and keep going through. I ain't going to bore you all with that one. Then we'll get back over to the table and show you what we got. Alright, so we're ready to glue this puppy up. We got our hole cleaned through. We got our pen insert tool. Got our tube. And we got our glue. So we're going to be using a medium CA glue. This is Star Bond brand. It's just the brand they sell at the store by my house, so it's the one I use. So what we're going to do is just get our tube here on the insert tool, add a little bit of glue. You're going to focus mostly on getting it on the top, let it come down a little bit, because you'll notice as we're inserting, we're going to turn it. So that's going to get that glue all the way around the tube and all the way inside the hole, get us a real good bond. Once I feel like it's almost in, I'm going to just knock it against my table. Make sure it's nice and flush, and then we'll get it over and get it on the barrel trimmer and just clean up our ends a little bit. Alright, we're on our barrel trimmer. We're just going to beat it down here until we see that little bit of brass coming through, a little diamond in the rough, nice and shiny. Once we get down there, we'll flip it over, do it again, and then we'll pop this puppy on the lathe and be ready to go. look at this here. This is so shiny. This blank is actually made with paper inserted into resin. So it's multiple colors of resin and paper polished up, just beautiful. So kind of went for a really simple, almost a baseball shape. The goal is that when it's in the hand, it'll feel pretty nice, so she can kind of just hold it, tap, tap, tap. Give people some beautiful tattoos. Hopefully one day she'll give me one with it. I love it. So next thing we are going to do is press our tip in. But first, we're going to put a hole clean through this. And this is the part I'm dreading the most, because this is where we can end up just screwing up our entire blank after all that work. But put a hole in with this, and this is my tap. I have tested this already on a failure pen to make sure everything fits, and it does. So I know these are our right sizes. So I'm gonna mark this up. We'll find probably our ugliest spot, which I think is gonna be right about there. So I'm just gonna put a little mark here. And that's where I'm gonna try to drill it. All right, so we're back off the drill press. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't want to record that part because I was afraid it was gonna blow up all my work, and I really wanted to just take my time and focus, but got through, took our time, made it, didn't blow up the blank. Now I'm just gonna go in and tap it. So I decided to tap by hand because I want to be able to control the speed, and I just want to slowly creep in there and then be able to real slowly back out. So that resin's nice and soft. It's not as hard as metal, so I didn't want to risk tearing up the threads, and I need to make sure that that piece is going to thread in real well. So now we got that all tapped up. We're going to go ahead and insert our tip. So we're just using the standard gunmetal tip. I thought it looked slick there with that orange. We'll get that pressed in. And then when I decided to go ahead and use that twist mechanism, I think it's just going to give that needle a little bit more stability. So here we are pressing that in. Get that in. We're going to go deeper than we would with a normal pen. And that's where that little bit of extra wiggle room that we added is going to come into play. You can drop that puppy in. Now you can see that needle sits very, very close to the end. Should fit very nicely in the hand. Allow a lot of motion to pop, 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 stick somebody up. I've actually never got a stick poke tattoo. I have a ton of tattoos. I'm sure y'all probably could see them on my feet when I'm in there turning. But I don't actually have any stick and pokes aside from the one time I stuck myself on my thumb. You can see that there's a little black dot there on my thumb. I stuck myself with a tattoo needle by accident. Not for this project, for something else. Alright, so next thing we're going to do, we're going to take this puppy. It's our set screw. We're going to set it and forget it. Now we're going to set it, adjust it, and then we're going to pop this in. Be right back when we'll get some Allen keys. You can see, because we tapped it, tap that. Ooh, just smooth right in. Now I would like to make one of these again, and I'm thinking about getting with my buddy and having him machine me some parts so we can get some really nice custom made parts for these. Now, I did measure this in advance. I brought this into Ace, and the helpful hardware folks there at Ace looked at me like I was nuts, but they were nice enough to humor me and let me assemble and disassemble this thing in the store and make sure everything was going to fit. Now I think I could use this smaller set screw here. Get that in there. And don't force it, just go till it starts to feel snug. A little bit more. You can see that's in there now. Needle sticking out. And we got ourselves a little sticky poker. Look at that. What a beauty. Stickle, stick 'em. Now, I know some of you are probably grossed out by this and offended by the idea of stick a poke. To each their own. I still think it's a beautiful project and a really nice example of how you could take your standard pen kit and really turn it into something else. Alright, y'all, here we have it. This is a little bit ridiculous. This is definitely a different one. Something I never really thought I would make out of a pen kit. A little stick poke gun. Tattoo machine. Beautiful kit though. I mean, just a beautiful kit. I can't get over that blank. I'm really pleased with how the mechanism turned out. I think Genesis is gonna love it. Oh man, I'm just very excited about this one. Yeah, hope you guys liked it. Luckily this time everything went according to plan. Nothing blew up on me. Pretty pleased with that. Pretty pleased with how everything turned out. Hopefully this will be a good video for you. If you do like it, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe. If you guys have any other ideas of any other things that you'd like me to experiment with, you know, something out of the ordinary, maybe not just always turning pins. I do have a couple other things I'm gonna put on and try to record. They're a little bit longer projects, so I don't know when all they're going to be ready, but yeah, if you have any other ideas of things we could do with blanks and pen kits and cannibalizing and Frankensteining, y'all just let me know. Like I said, if you like it, go ahead and give me that thumbs up and get that bell on and subscribe. Thanks, y'all. See you next time.